If Kamala Harris is so great, and if the media and the Democrats and all the vote blue, no matter who weirdos that seem to make up the majority of the internet, if she's as great and as amazing as all these people claim, then why is she in hiding, right? And why are these people allowing her to hide? They should be wanting to show her off. They should be wanting to just get in on the grift, right? But Kamala Harris, she's currently dodging the press better than Joe Biden ever did, right? She won't even go on MSNBC. And that's pretty bad, man. When you can't even answer questions from Joy Reid or Rachel Maddow, then you got some real issues, man. You are definitely running scared. Eventually, the fact that she hasn't really talked to anyone since the coup has got to expose her, right? I mean, still hasn't even talked about her involvement in hiding Joe's brain malfunction from the public. And honestly, I think she's so used to not being liked, and she knows that the second she opens her mouth that there's a real good chance that all ends. So she's just hiding, man. And she's just kind of soaking that all in, right? And the same media that chased Joe Biden out of Washington is letting her hide. But eventually they're going to have to do their jobs.
Voters.
And Spencer, there's been a lot of talk about the fact that Kamala Harris really hasn't taken a single question from the media yet, hasn't had a press conference since she was thrust into this role as the presumptive Democrat nominee. If we can pull up this quote from The Hill right here. Top of this article says, quote, "And while Harris is in the middle of a political honeymoon after unifying a Democratic Party that had been badly divided over President Biden's future, some Democrats fear the vice president could fall into the same trap as Biden, who is also under strict controls with the press." Spencer, how long can Kamala Harris go without either having a press conference or doing a sit-down interview with a legitimate journalist who is going to press her on what her policies are now and if they've changed from 2018, 2019, 2020?
Well, I think what you just said there is the biggest problem she has, and why we haven't actually heard from her or seen her in a sit-down interview is because those policies are so toxic and so indefensible. You know, there's a reason she never made it to Iowa, never had a primary vote cast for her as a presidential candidate in 2020 or even this cycle, obviously, because she was the vice presidential candidate until just recently. And when you look at Democrats as a whole, not just Biden, not just Harris, you look at the spending policies, they've driven inflation up so high. There's a reason the Democratic Party is no longer the party of the working class because they've so abandoned them. You know, they can't afford the fact that goods are now 20% more expensive than they were in January 2021 when this administration took office and then proceeded to pass all these bills. And I think in terms of Kamala Harris specifically, her problem, if you look just a few days ago, CNN had somebody on talking after she was the presumptive nominee for the Democrats, talking about how it's such a good thing that she's a more celebrity-friendly candidate for the Democrats. And I'm sure that comes as a great reassurance to all the Americans who, you know, can't afford to put food on the table, who can't afford to take vacations. And it just shows how out of touch these Democrats have become and completely abandoned this base that really, again, used to be very much the Democratic base, but has just completely gone away now because Democrats have shoved them away.
And Brittany, you can kind of see the contrast. You have got, on one hand, Kamala Harris not doing press conferences.
Just think about how amazing that is, man. We have a Democrat candidate that literally 2 weeks after basically deposing the party's presumptive nominee in honor of democracy and in honor of protecting voting rights, of course, she still hasn't given a press conference, still hasn't sat for an interview. And all she's done is had some faceless random staffers come out and denounce basically all of her previously held positions. According to her staff, she doesn't support defunding the police anymore, doesn't support the decriminalization of illegal migration, and doesn't support free stuff for the illegal aliens that are already here. So basically, according to her staff, every bit of video that you've ever seen of Kamala Harris is now inaccurate, right? And the problem with that is, you know, not one question has actually been answered by this candidate. And I don't know, man, you gotta wonder, like, how long can that really go on? And I'm willing to bet, honestly, the longer that it does go on, the more it's going to get in her head, and the more that, you know, the country's anticipation is going to grow, both the left and the right. And I think with all that building, it's almost guaranteed to be an epic failure whenever she does open her mouth. And I think she knows this. I think her handlers know this. And I think every single person who knows anything about her knows this. And this is why they're going to hide her for as long as they possibly can. But I don't know. It's fun to watch. But that's just my take, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.